everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a while and I want to tell you why I've been MIA because a few of you reached out and I appreciate your concern. The big news is that I had a baby 6 months ago. In fact, in the last video I uploaded, I was about 7 months pregnant, and since then I've been completely caught up in motherhood. After a quick 2-week break, I did jump back into work, continuing to work on some ongoing projects. However, juggling between a newborn and my work left me with zero time for YouTube. But things are more manageable right now, and I'm ready to return to creating content. So thanks for sticking around and thank you for your support. Anyway, let's talk about today's video. I'm going to be walking you through a living room design that we just wrapped up for a 2 BHK apartment here in Mumbai. And I'll tell you all about it. But first, let's get cracking with the plan. So here's the plan of the place we've been working on. It's a 2 BHK in Mumbai. You enter through this narrow angled entryway, and right after that, you hit the kitchen. It's not your standard square or rectangular space. It's got this odd shape to it, and the living room is mostly rectangular except for this one little corner here. Then you've got this, for the lack of a better word, let's call it a mini vestibule, which leads us to what's going to be the parents' bedroom. And over here, this sliding door opens up to the client's bedroom. And once again, the bedroom isn't your classic square or rectangle either. What stands out in both the bedrooms is the zigzag walls that create a cozy window seating area. Oh, and check this, even the toilets have angled walls. So you can see this kind of quirkiness all over the floor plan. Honestly, my first thought when I entered the space was like, oh my god, the interior architecture of the space is inherently quite interesting. And although I knew that is exactly what's going to be difficult to work with, I was quite determined to make it work. And I wanted to showcase its peculiarities by embracing it rather than concealing it. And so I was very keen to sort of use these quirky elements to add in that extra layer of uniqueness throughout the house. Though this video is all about the living room, stay tuned because I'll be dropping more videos soon showing you the bedrooms and the kitchen design too. While the plan was to embrace all the angles, steps and quirky nooks in the layout, I won't lie, setting up a practical layout was no easy feat. Take the entrance passage for example. Although one can pass through comfortably, it is quite narrow, leaving us with barely any space for a shoe cabinet, a bench or even a console unit. Maybe we could squeeze in a thin ledge, but nothing more than that. To solve this, we decided to knock down this non-load bearing wall that separates the kitchen from the entrance passage. Then, we built a new wall to create a wider passage. This gave us the opportunity to add some much needed storage right at the entrance. We planned for one cabinet to store shoes and the other one for random miscellaneous stuff. And between these two cabinets, we created a space for a seat so anyone, especially our clients' parents, can comfortably sit down to put on their shoes. If we hadn't made this structural change, people would have to walk much further into the living room to sit and then put on their shoes, which is in no way hygienic, especially when you're trying to keep the inside clean from outside dirt. And of course, I wouldn't miss the chance of placing mirrors in narrow passages because be it a small mirror or a large mirror, any amount of reflection it creates can be a real game changer, making it feel more open and spacious. So we decided to place a nice full-size tall mirror behind the seat here. Not only does it add to the aesthetics, but it also serves a practical purpose, giving you a last-minute check before you step out of the door. This way, we managed to make the entrance passage functional while also offering decent storage. So the more we worked on this layout, the more we realized that this unconventional layout leaves very little room for conventional modular storage, which is typically very straightforward, squarish, or rectangle in shape. But having the right amount of storage is key to avoiding clutter. I'm not somebody who's obsessed with tons of storage, but there should be at least the right amount so that everything can be put in its place. Or, like Marie Kondo puts it, everything in your house should have a home, or else things get cluttered and you're going to end up with many little dumping nooks everywhere. That's why breaking down that wall to make space for the entrance cabinet felt like the right move. Moving on, let's step into the living room, where we've got to squeeze in a dining table for 4, seating for at least 4 people, a storage or a puja unit, and a library unit. Now, this angled nook in the living room immediately caught my eye the first time I visited the site. I knew right away that it would make the perfect dining nook, especially since it's so close to the kitchen. I could already picture a very snug, cozy, and a banquet-style dining corner here that just invites you to sit down and enjoy a meal. To support this idea, I decided to eliminate what I like to call a mini vestibule to the bedroom. We shifted the entrance door of the bedroom, so the mini vestibule became part of the bedroom. Sure, it meant building some block work, but it actually worked in my favor, as it allowed me to extend a dining bench along the entire nook, turning it into a comfy built-in seating area with the added bonus of storage space underneath. There's an existing planter bed in the apartment, separated by a short RCC partition at the bottom level. The previous owners had extended the living room up to this point by positioning the windows on that partition. However, our clients were very keen on undoing that change and bringing back the original balcony, even if it meant reducing the living room area. So we moved the windows back under the beam, re-establishing the living room boundaries. Now, it was important that the TV should be directly in front of the main seating. After checking out the available walls, we brainstormed a bit and decided to block off the existing entrance to the other bedroom, and by tweaking the partition here, we made space for a new entry into the client's bedroom, leaving just enough room for curtains to park here. This created what I like to call a great wide wall for us to fit a TV unit, a library unit, and the puja unit. This way, the main seating could be right opposite the TV, allowing space for an armchair on the left side of the sofa instead of the right, maintaining clear circulation pathways. So yeah, that's how we derived the living room plan. You may have noticed that how changing certain things in the living room, like repositioning the entrances to both the bedrooms or widening the entrance passage by reducing the kitchen size, may snowball into a sequence of other changes in each room. But when we are working on the layout of one room, we often have to explore multiple options for all the other rooms as well, because one change always affects the other during the planning phase, especially if structural changes are involved. But in this video, since we are focusing on the living room, it might seem like we are tackling one room at a time, but behind the scenes, we are actually working through the layouts for all the connected rooms simultaneously. But to keep this video short, I'll be taking you through the bedroom layouts in a follow-up video. So after we finalized the living room layout, we could dive into the mood board, and our clients were very clear from the start that they wanted a very modern Indian vibe throughout the house. So we started gathering a lot of reference images and collecting furniture ideas, working very closely with the client to shape the look and feel of the house. For the TV unit, our first original idea was to go big with a tall built-in unit that would combine the TV stand, the library storage and display. The goal was to maximize storage space, but we quickly realized that a tall unit could block natural light and also mess with the window view, as in cut it in a very odd way. So we borrowed ideas from some reference images and decided on a long horizontal base unit instead, which would serve as the primary storage at the bottom, with two long display shelves for knickknacks, memorabilia and decor on top. This way, neither the window view nor the natural light is sacrificed. As for the puja unit, our client wanted something understated and unassuming. So we decided to integrate it into this incredibly wide TV storage unit by carving out a niche within it, which is a subtle but intentional demarcation that fits seamlessly and wouldn't break the immense width of this unit. What I absolutely love about this idea is the symmetry it creates with the two wood doors on either side of the display wall. And to elevate it further, we added head panels above the door openings to properly frame this grand wall. Had we gone with a typical tall unit, the bedroom entrance would have been hidden behind a vertical section, creating a very awkward entry for the client's bedroom. If you look closely, we thought we could bring in this kind of a step detail, framing the walls wherever possible in the living room. Remember the zigzag structural wall from the bedroom? That's where we drew inspiration from for this step detail. So after adding this step detail, I absolutely loved how things were coming together because it is so subtle, yet it allows a distinctive design language to flow throughout the house, tying the house in a very understated way. So when we decide to introduce certain design elements like this, we also need to figure out how do we actually make it on site, because it's very important to ensure that purely decorative elements like this should be designed to be sturdy. While there are many ways to achieve this, my way would be to use MDF because you can cut them into thin putties and then install them in that stepped fashion, and then you just coat them with one layer of epoxy and prepare the surface like you would prep any other wall surface for painting, which is the lambi, putty, primer, you know the drill. And then you paint it with the same paint that you would apply to the rest of the walls in the house. But the key is to spray paint the MDF putties and not brush paint it for a much superior finish, and that way the spray painted MDF putties will sort of blend in very seamlessly with the surrounding walls, which is exactly what I want. If we were to use plywood, then it would have to be finished with laminate or with a PVC edge band, but then it would not blend in seamlessly with the adjacent wall, and also it would be very sharp, and that could be an issue. And if I would use solid wood edge beading to sort of solve the problem of sharpness, but then concealing it with paint would be a little too excessive for something that's purely decorative. So I wouldn't do that as well. The other idea is, of course, to use a custom made aluminium mold, and then you just simply fill it with plaster of Paris or POP, and then you extrude it wherever you need so that you can achieve this detail. But then there's this typical problem of POP edges chipping off, so I wouldn't recommend that as well. In fact, whenever we have too many exposed POP edges in a project, we use a corner guard, which is a slightly expensive detail but totally worth it. And in this project, we are anyway going to have to use it on the many exposed POP edges on the walls throughout the house. But in this particular area, on the edges of the extruded POP detail, while adding a corner guard would prevent chipping, the adhesion of the POP on the wall itself wouldn't be strong enough to withstand accidental bumps or impacts like moving furniture. In general, cheaper alternatives may save you money up front, but it may end up costing more in the long run if you factor in the cost of repairs, and so it's just better to invest in sturdy materials from the very beginning. We showed various flooring options to our clients, and he absolutely loved the idea of the seamless micro-topping flooring. And we were quite tempted to coat the front of the dining bench and also the display shelves with micro-topping for a highly seamless and cohesive look throughout. However, we have to be mindful of cost sometimes. So we opted for a suet finished white laminate on the entrance passage cabinetry, which will also appear on the dining bench and the white wall mounted shelves to ensure consistency in white finishes throughout the house. Since this display shelf is extra wide, we decided to use inbuilt wall brackets to prevent sagging and hence sandwich 2 layers of plywood for additional strength. We decided to cover the edge with solid wood edge beading, which will be spray painted with a PU paint to match the laminate color. This way, the edges of the shelf won't be too sharp either. So it's these little thoughtful details that truly elevate the finished product. So yeah, that was the living room design, and I hope it gave you guys some insight into how we plan tricky spaces or develop cabinet forms or pick furniture pieces, or how we marry certain design elements with sturdy materials and robust details. So stay tuned for more and let me know in the comments telling me which part of the living room design you like the most. And do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos are up.